This is Jana. Jana's going to Interlaken, but she's never been and is about to show up completely unprepared. Don't be like Jana. Avoid these 15 tourist mistakes so you don't look and feel like a total noob.
Okay, babe, here's the plan. If we leave Zurich at 5:19 tomorrow morning, we can go see Jungfraujoch and still make it back to Zurich before dinner. Let's start with something a bit controversial. Jungfraujoch is without a doubt the most well-marketed spot in the area. There are thousands of Swiss francs deployed every single year to convince travelers like you that your trip to the region would not be complete without a visit to the top of Europe. Now, we've been there a few times and we filmed a video there last year. And I think if you watch it, you'll see that we had loads of fun. But so many travelers have asked us if Jungfraujoch is worth it. It's not a mistake to go there. If you know you want to go, then just do it. But we do think it's a mistake to prioritize it over everything else. The reality is that Jungfraujoch is the most expensive place to visit near Interlaken. A trip there takes a big chunk of a day, and there are good views, but we think there are better views elsewhere. But if you've never seen snow, then this is a great chance to experience that. And if you want to see or even hike across the glacier, then you won't want to miss Jungfraujoch. So enjoy Jungfraujoch guilt-free if you know you want to go. But we don't recommend going there if you have less than 3 days in the Jungfrau region. That's because there are just so many other incredible experiences to enjoy, and most of them will be covered by a train pass too. Also, don't take a day trip from Zurich or Geneva just to visit Jungfraujoch, especially if you've never been to the Jungfrau region before.
You're going to Jungfraujoch looking like that?
Yeah.
If you do decide to go to Jungfraujoch, avoid looking like a rookie by following these tips. The average high temperature, even during the summer months, barely gets above freezing. So make sure to dress appropriately. That means wearing layers, and you might even want gloves and a hat. But don't overdo it by wearing just a heavy coat with no other layers. When the sun is out and shining during the summer, it can feel much warmer than the actual temperature suggests. And the coldest part of the entire Jungfraujoch tour might just be the Ice Palace, which is kept at 27 degrees Fahrenheit the entire year. As for other tips, try to avoid a weekend visit if possible and go early in the morning. Following both of these suggestions will put you ahead of the crowds and give you a much better experience. Finally, it would be a mistake to go to Jungfraujoch without watching our ultimate guide video, where we tell you everything you need to know, like how to hike on a glacier, where to pose with the Swiss flag in the snow, how to mail a letter from the highest mailbox in Switzerland, and lots of other things.
Babe, it looks like it's gonna rain every day during our trip. There's no way to be nice about it. The phone weather apps suck when it comes to predicting what the weather will be like in the Swiss Alps. There are plenty of days here when we're outside enjoying the beautiful sunshine, and our phone app literally tells us that it's raining. So if you were to believe your unreliable phone's weather app, then you would miss out on some incredible days here in the mountains. So do yourself a favor and get familiar with Meteo Swiss. There is a phone app, but we actually just find the website to be way more user-friendly. Meteo Swiss seems to deliver the most accurate weather forecast, and one of our favorite features is the ability to see the expected minutes of sunshine or precipitation per hour. This is so helpful for when you want to prioritize the clearest part of the day for a mountain adventure. And be sure to check the weather in a few different places, like the mountains and the lakes, because often it can be cloudy in one but sunny in another. So don't visit Interlaken or Grindelwald or really anywhere in Switzerland without making Meteo Swiss your friend. Made it to Grindelwald!
Trains can already feel complicated, but Grindelwald, Interlaken, and Mürren make your train travel extra confusing by having multiple stations with the same name. Interlaken has 2 train stations, Interlaken Oost, which means east, and Interlaken West, which means west. Interlaken West has more hotels, restaurants, and amenities, but Interlaken Oost is the beginning of the train line heading into the mountains. You can connect between the two by train or by walking approximately 15 minutes. Or you can ride a bus from Interlaken West to Wilderswil, where you can then catch the train to go to the mountains. There are actually 3 train stations in Grindelwald, and you need to know which one is closest to your hotel and which is best for your other sightseeing excursions. When you travel toward Grindelwald, the first station you'll come to is Grindelwald Terminal. This is where you get off to board the Eiger Express to Eigergletscher and then head to Jungfraujoch or to take the cable car to Mannlichen. One station past Terminal is the Grindelwald Bahnhof train station. This is the main village where nearly all the lodging is, and you'll also find the Grindelwald First and Pfingsteg cable cars about a 10 to 15 minute walk or a short bus ride from here. Finally, there's Grindelwald Grund, sitting just below the main village. You have to switch trains in Grindelwald to go here, and less of you are likely to use this station. But it might be convenient if your Airbnb sits below the village or if you want to ride the train to Kleine Scheidegg. And then there's Mürren. This delightful alpine village is serviced by the BLM from the Lauterbrunnen train station and by the Schilthorn cable car from Schilthorn Birg at the back of the valley. So yeah, maps are very helpful here. Nearly every train station has giant maps on the walls, and all of them have paper maps inside as well.
And while we're on the topic of being in the wrong place, make sure you pick the correct line when you visit Kulm. The left side is for people who already have a ticket or pass, and the right side is for people who need to purchase a ticket, and that line is often a lot longer. But there's no excuse to have to wait in that line. Both of the regional train passes, the Berner Oberland Pass and the Jungfrau Travel Pass, fully cover the route to Kulm. And if you don't have one of those train passes, you can easily buy tickets on the SBB mobile app or even online. There, thanks to this video, now the line for people with tickets is gonna be the longer line. Wait, this one's closed? This one too?
Few things are worse than traveling all the way to the Jungfrau Region just to find out that the things you're most excited to do are closed. So avoid this mistake by looking up the cable car and railway operating schedules before your visit. There are distinct summer and winter seasons here, and many of the major mountain excursions are open during both. But in between, shoulder season is a real thing, with plenty of places closed for maintenance for up to 6 weeks at a time. And keep in mind that sightseeing favorites such as Kulm or Schienegeplatte are only open during the summer season. Now, no matter what time of year you visit, you'll be able to enjoy the villages of Interlaken, Lauterbrunnen, Grindelwald, and Wengen. But while mountain villages like Mürren and Gimmelwald are accessible year-round, they often have limited restaurant and lodging availability during the shoulder seasons. But there are definitely periods of time throughout the year that are more likely to delight or disappoint your expectations. So be sure to check out our best time to visit Interlaken video, where we give you month-by-month details to aid you in your planning.
Hey, what should we do today?
I don't know. Know of any good hikes around here?
Ooh, I know. We can go to one of those spots I found on Instagram. While unexpected cable car closings and poor weather forecasts can ruin your trip, so can a wing it approach. We've seen so many people come here and pack a ton of stuff into just like 2 or 3 days without realizing how long it takes to get from one place to another, or just assuming that the cable cars run super late into the evening even when they don't. But we sadly watch so many people come to this region and single-mindedly focus on replicating that perfect Instagram photo or that dreamy movie scene. Now, there's no reason why you can't come here and experience the best the region has to offer in just a few short days, but you're gonna need some help. And that's why we created our Switzerland itineraries for the Jungfrau region. They help solve all these problems and prevent you from making so many of the mistakes that we mentioned in this video. So be sure to check them out later, but not before finishing the rest of these tips. I'm pretty sure Blue means beginner, so let's do this trail.
It's easy to be lulled into complacency while hiking in Switzerland. The nature is stunning. Cable cars and trains will take you just about anywhere you want to go, and trails are so well marked, it's nearly impossible to get lost. But that doesn't mean that you should hike unprepared. So get familiar with the trail signs and what they mean. Yellow trails are the easiest, and usually suggest a paved path or wide gravel trail suitable for walkers of almost all ability levels. Generally, tennis shoes should be just fine for these paths. Red trails are hiking trails, and usually include more elevation gain or loss, narrower trails with rocks and roots on the path, and sometimes a little bit of exposure too. You're better off with at least a trail running or light hiking shoe as opposed to tennis shoes on these trails. And then you have the blue trails. I hesitate to even mention these because only those with lots of experience and proper equipment should even venture onto these trails. They're considered alpine trails and often require fixed ropes or other equipment to navigate areas with lots of exposure and significant threat of falls. In addition to these color markings, you'll see a few places listed along with time estimates to reach them at an average but Swiss-centric hiking pace. Keep in mind that your end destination might not be listed on these signs from the beginning of your hike, so you're probably going to need to know some of the main waypoints along your route. If you're unsure, just remember that you can pick up a trail map in most of the train stations.
What happened?
I forgot my rain jacket. You're in the Alps. A typical day could include crisp, clear mornings, clouds rolling in by noon, an afternoon rain shower, followed by a hot, muggy evening, and then once the sun sets, it cools off more quickly than you might think. Then you can mix in altitude changes when you're out sightseeing, and basically, there is no typical day in the Alps, so you need to pack for a little bit of everything. We usually wear a t-shirt and pants when we head into the mountains during the summer, and we always bring our rain jackets. But if we're going above 2,000 meters, we'll probably bring along a sweatshirt for warmth as well. When the sun is out, it can feel hot, even if it's only like 60 degrees. But if the clouds roll in or the winds pick up, it can start to feel even colder, more like 40 degrees. So just be prepared for all kinds of temperatures. Oh, and don't forget your sunscreen too. Or at least wear something stylish for sun protection like Brett.
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting in this line for like 2 hours.
Many of you are excited for the adventure activities at Grindelwald First. And not to rain on your parade, but we've pretty much always seen wait times of 90 to 120 minutes for these activities by mid-morning. So to avoid wasting a day in the Swiss Alps standing in line for these activities, we suggest the following strategy. Go first thing in the morning. The gondolas begin running between 8 and 9 a.m. depending on the time of year. And once again, you'll beat the crowds by going early. Choose one of these 3 activities that's most important to you: the glider, the flyer, or the mountain carts, and do that right away. Right up to Schreckfeld if you want to do the glider or mountain carts, or all the way up to First for the flyer. Once you get your most important adventure activity out of the way, you can decide whether or not you want to do another based on the wait times. But you'll notice we didn't list the trotty bike. That's because, for whatever reason, it almost never has a long wait time. So it's actually pretty strategic to save this for the end and ride the trotty bike all the way back to Grindelwald. Just like with Harder Kulm, both of the regional train passes fully cover the gondolas to First, or you can buy tickets on the SBB app or online. So there's no reason to be standing in line to purchase them. And you can even buy tickets online for the adventure activities too, though we suggest caution here. We'd hate to see you load up on tickets only to spend all day in line waiting to complete these activities.
Grindelwald, here I come.
Whether you're traveling to Grindelwald or Lauterbrunnen, you'll board from this same platform in the Interlaken Oost and Wilderswil train stations. If you're going to Lauterbrunnen, you want to sit on the front half of the train. And if you're going to Grindelwald, you want to board the back half of the train. That's because this one train takes passengers all the way to Schilthorn and then it splits in 2. And the front half of the train goes to Lauterbrunnen and the back half of the train continues to Grindelwald. Now there are super clear signs in both Interlaken Oost and Wilderswil train stations to help you with this, but we still see a lot of tourists making this mistake.
Well, I guess that's all of Lauterbrunnen.
You don't have to be J.R.R. Tolkien or an Instagram influencer to recognize that Lauterbrunnen Valley is one of the most stunning places on Earth. So a visit here is a must. But if you only visit the village and Staubach waterfall, you'll be missing the best part. So take your time and wander the paved path that goes past Staubach Falls and continues toward the back of the valley. Along the way, you'll pass local farms, wander beside the river, and have the chance to visit some farm fridges. But you'll also give yourself a sore neck as you continually gaze at the endless waterfalls and sheer cliff faces. It's about 5 kilometers from the Lauterbrunnen train station to the Schilthorn Schilthorn near the back of the valley. But at many points along the way, you could cross the river and hop on a bus if you'd rather cut the walk short. Or if you want to enjoy the valley at your own pace while saving your walking legs, consider renting a bike at Inboden Bike in Lauterbrunnen. Hey, how was the Schilthorn?
It was so cool.
What'd you think about the Birg Throw Walk?
The what? The Schilthorn is iconic, with its revolving restaurant offering up some of the most killer views in the Jungfrau region. And the fact that it was a filming location for James Bond on Her Majesty's Secret Service is just icing on the cake. But why visit the location inspired by James Bond without pretending to be James Bond? Do your best Bond impersonation by stopping by the Birg cable car station for the Birg Throw Walk. You'll walk along cliff faces, cross a tightrope, and crawl through a tunnel, all while safely suspended by the magnificence of Swiss engineering. There are ways to bypass each of the scarier elements, but unless you're deathly afraid of heights, there isn't really anything super scary or dangerous about this. And in our opinion, we like the Birg Throw Walk better than we like the Grindelwald First cliff walk, although that one's fun too. The Throw Walk is free, and you can stop at the Birg station on your way up or down from the Schilthorn. Hey Siri, navigate driving directions to Harder Kulm.
I'm sorry, but you cannot drive to Harder Kulm.
You really don't need a rental car in the Jungfrau region. Now, of course you can drive to Interlaken, Grindelwald, and Lauterbrunnen, but here's an incomplete list of places you can't reach by car. Wengen, Mürren, Gimmelwald, Grindelwald First, the Schilthorn, Jungfraujoch, Harderkulm, Mainlichen, Schieningeplatte, and the list goes on. There are times when it makes sense to drive in this area. For example, if you're traveling with a large group, or you've already rented a car to visit other European destinations. But even if you drive to the Jungfrau region, you're still gonna have to ride public transportation to go into the mountains. It's still gonna cost quite a bit of money, and you're probably still gonna be better off with some type of train pass. What are you doing?
Not buying a Swiss train pass is like throwing your money in the garbage. But there are so many different passes to choose from, and knowing which routes are and are not covered can be very confusing. Now, you could just buy the Swiss travel pass and hope it works out, or you can check out our ultimate guide to Swiss train passes. In both the video and the free download, we give specific recommendations for trips to the Jungfrau region, Zermatt, Lucerne, and beyond to help you pick your train pass and travel Switzerland with confidence. So check that out next, and we'll see you in Switzerland.